the Lisa Saunders Show. If you were here last week, you know that I had Connie Howard with me, and I have her again today because we just had to keep talking. I had to hear you keep playing. So thank you so much for staying on for a second show.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. I'll try not to rerun some things, but we do have to go over some basics for people that weren't here for the first show. Again, I met Connie Howard at the opening of the Coastal Cottage Inn, a new bed and breakfast in New London. It's a gorgeous place with antiques and everything, and there you were smack dab at this party sitting behind this grand piano just playing one show tune after another that I recognized, because I don't love music per se, but if I recognize it from a movie or from a play, I love it. And you were playing a lot of stuff I recognized. So I was just excited to come over and ask you, are we allowed to stand around like they do in the movies? And we can sing with you. And you're like, yeah, yeah. And I even got to sit next to you. I hope you didn't mind that I sat right next to you.
Oh, it was wonderful. I love having people singing around me, so it was great.
You just moved back to Connecticut.
I did.
Where'd you most recently come from?
I had been in Nashville for just over a decade. But I grew up in this area, so it's coming home. Truthfully, I mean, it just feels great. I'm really glad to be back on the shoreline, southeastern Connecticut. It's wonderful.
Now, you're a songwriter, composer, singer, all those three, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the last show, we talked more about some of your career because I just was so excited that you'd sit around in cafes and on Times Square and just playing for all these people. How did you even get into playing music? I mean, because you play so well, and you don't even look at the notes. Like, how did this even start?
Of years. Lots and lots of years of doing it, I suppose. I actually started playing when I was about 4. My grandfather was a tremendous pianist, and I would sit on his knee, and he was really my first teacher. And I went on to study classical at Yale when I was in high school.
How could you study at Yale when you're in high school?
I auditioned with some really tough pieces. I had an incredible music teacher at the time. She was just phenomenal. I can still play almost every song that she taught me. She was so strict and so good.
Wait, so you were in college and in high school? Like, were you earning college credit? I don't understand what that is.
Just a teacher at the music school, Yale Music School, who had very select private students as well. So I had to audition to be able to study with him.
Didn't Cole Porter graduate from Yale? Do you know? Because
I
was just watching a movie, I think, and I could be wrong. Because they have a big dramatic department.
Right.
I mean, so I know they're really into music and drama. So you had private lessons with this woman?
This was a man.
Man?
Yeah, and so it was tremendous, classical training, basic training, and I performed and I competed a lot. Through high school and everything.
Oh my gosh. Were you a nervous wreck or anything when you'd have to?
Yeah, but it was good for the challenge. I mean, I loved it, and always traveling to different cities and competing nationally. And
really? You were going all over the country?
Yeah.
To compete? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But at the same time, as I thought about my future, I didn't, as a piano player, there weren't that many options, I didn't think, for me, unless classically anyhow, unless you join, a symphony orchestra or something. I always thought it would just be a hobby. And it would be something I would do,
and that's
for fun on the side. And then so I decided to study political science.
Where'd you go to college?
At Stanford.
Okay.
And pursue a different route.
But then what happened that you went back to music? Can you, even if it's telling me again about France, I mean, I don't mind hearing it again because I love that story.
Well, I suppose that was really a big part of it because while I was in France, I was waiting for the Foreign Service exam to come up because they only gave it once a year. And so 5 nights a week, I was playing and singing in a cafe and had my days to really work on my French and start writing songs. And I had never really written before.
Oh, you didn't?
Over there.
So being in France is what inspired this.
Right, and I had the time to play around with things, and I was just being influenced from so many different genres of music. There's a great jazz scene there, and different world music and everything. And so when that Foreign Service exam came along, and I did pass it, but I was really having second thoughts about if I was going to want to pursue that career and go be shipped off to the world someplace in some windowless, embassy somewhere where I could be sitting in this beautiful cafe in France singing. it was a kind of a difficult trade-off to make.
I
and
mean,
music had just
this
taken
cafe
over.
actually paid you, and they housed you.
Right.
To sit there and do what you love to do, and you thought this was going to be a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you played it for the last show, but I don't care. Can you please play what you opened up, the show with, the one that you wrote yourself, and it's half French, half English. I just love it.
Okay, absolutely.
And you did. Now you got inspired to write this in France. Like
yes.
When did you sit there and write it? Like, explain how it even came to you. Were you at the cafe playing around while the customers were there, or was it at 4 in the morning when they all went home? I don't know what time they closed in France.
Yeah, about 4 in the morning. Gosh, I'll have to think of when I actually wrote it. I usually wrote during the day, sitting like overlooking the square. I could see the market and stuff. I had a nice little apartment there, and I had my keyboard set up on my table. It was just a small little.
So you had a little portable keyboard in France.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And looking out the window, and it was the first song that I wrote that was bilingual like that. I have a couple others, but they're more pop dance songs that I can't play myself playing. Mm-hmm. They're on some CDs, but.
Okay, and you do have 2 CDs. So now this song that you wrote, the French one that I love, is it on either of these CDs?
It is not on either of these, but I do believe it's a single on iTunes, and if it's not, it will be soon.
Okay.
I'll have to get it recorded.
Now, before we forget,
soon.
how can people find your music and find where you're playing? Because now that you live in Connecticut, you play in Connecticut and Rhode Island in restaurants.
Right.
Do you also do weddings and
I do.
parties?
Wedding receptions, private parties, openings of bed and breakfast.
Yes, where I met you at the
that.
bed and breakfast. Because I told somebody who opened a new restaurant, I said, oh, you really need to have a piano player. I met this great piano player.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Because
Yeah.
I really can't stand to go to a restaurant where the music's loud. I will, there's a lot of restaurants we won't go to because I can't hear my husband talk.
Right.
And that's the whole point of us going out to dinner.
Right.
But a good piano player or just somebody quietly on the guitar can really get me in the mood and make me have fun, And I feel like you're one of those people because I had so much fun singing with you and hearing your tunes at the bed and breakfast. So I just want to please play that one that you wrote in France. This is your really first song.
The first song that I wrote that was French and English.
Okay.
And it took me a while to figure out how to. I hadn't, rhyming lyrics is hard enough, and then trying to figure out rhymes in French, it was a little challenging.
And what's the name of the song?
It's called "I'm Worth It."
Okay.
Yeah. Like you to know before you go and make up your mind. Secrets lay deep and love is blind, but I'm worth it. Wait and see. Gypsy soul loves to wander far away, so far away from by my side, my heart will never roam. Je veux parler en français, si vous voulez une surprise. Je veux savoir tout que vous aimez, et ça m'a fait un grand sourire. So what you see may not be just what you'll get. You might want to invest in some time with me. The secrets lay deep and I'm worth it. Wait and see. Je veux vous parler en français si vous voulez une surprise. Je veux savoir tout que vous aimez et ça m'a fait un grand sourire. So what you see may not be just what you'll get. You might want to invest in some time with me. The secrets lay deep and I'm worth it. Wait
you. That's great.
You're welcome.
Do you have, I love the stories about when you were at Times Square and you worked in it was a restaurant where hopeful actresses and actors would work as waiters, and they would bring you their music for tryouts. That's really interesting. Like, were you allowed to just practice with them while they're supposed to be working, or if they're on a break and the customers could listen to you practice with them, or how did that work?
No, there wasn't a whole lot of practicing going on. They pretty much would bring up the piece of music, a lot of times which I'd never seen before, and say, play this, and they were on. Like, we hardly ever practiced because the restaurant was full and they were there to entertain. But I mean, I do have a large range of musical theater knowledge because I've played so many shows starting from when I was in high school. I would play the score for almost all the bands.
Really?
For our productions. So I've played many scores, so I do know a lot of songs, but there's always songs that I'm not going to know, especially from the newer musical theater repertoire.
You can read those notes and just play them in public?
It's not easy, but I can kind of fake it at least, so it doesn't sound too bad usually.
Wow. Wow, that's really great, because I don't know, I did take it for a year, and I just thought it was too hard to remember what those notes meant. I just kept having to relearn the same notes. I thought, this is ridiculous. I really need to do something else. And my aunt was a famous pianist, Olga Von Till, and she was in her 90s when I was in middle school when I was playing. And she heard me play. The family made me play for her. And after I was done, I played Greensleeves. And she said, well, you could grow up to become a page turner. Have you thought of that? The person that just does this. I was like, no, thanks.
That's what she said?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't want to give me hope that, music was in my future. I guess she thought she was doing me a favor. She was the one that was stuck in Europe at World War II, when she went over to play. Yeah, she's a fascinating lady. She didn't think much of me because I wasn't into music, so I kind of left her circles. Anyway, but you were kind to us at that party. All of us that can't sing on key, you were happy to have us sit around and play around your piano. You seem like a really generous music person.
Well, it seems it's even if people aren't right on key, the more the merrier. It kind of all blends together, and I think that's the whole goal is bringing people together and having them enjoy singing, whether or not it's sounding like it should be recorded or not.
Right, like so many businesses, when they have a grand opening, I really think you should be there. And I really think a lot of restaurants should be calling you.
I would love to be doing that. Love to be playing.
Because now that you've moved back, you're probably having to need to make all your connections all over again, because you haven't lived here for how many years?
A little over 20.
It's
been a long time.
So it's been a long time, so you're getting to know all the restaurant owners and all that, and have you contacted all the wedding venues
and everything,
all those people?
Slowly.
To let them know that
get more settled and to get back into doing this kind of stuff, because honestly I wasn't doing too many private parties and things. I was concentrating more on writing and recording when I was in Nashville and pitching songs to artists that hopefully we're going to have some long illustrious career and a big record deal and that kind of thing.
Now,
so
can you
I was
be
kind
doing
of
that
focused in a
again
different
now
way.
that you're still, because you live only 2.5 hours from New York City by train ride anyway, right? So is this something you can keep doing, is having that kind of life?
I'm hoping to absolutely get a little more involved in New York again. I had lived there for a while before I moved to Nashville, and I'd love to reconnect with some people that I had written with back when I lived there. And also I'd love to connect with people who are doing, writing musical theater, or actors who are looking to co-write their own songs. That would be great as well.
Okay, so because I think your bio said you've done a lot of off-Broadway
but just
shows.
playing.
Like playing, okay. And so was that fun? Like, is that something, do you just love the whole, you don't mind being up till 2 in the morning? Or like, what's the latest place you've ever played, or where it was regularly that late? Because I go to bed at 9, and I thought, how do people, because I get up and write at 5 a.m. That's really when I am on for writing and sitting alone with my keyboard.
Wow.
But you can't be this person that goes to bed at 9, because people are just getting going.
Right, exactly.
So where have you played where it was consistently late?
Well, I was a bit younger then when I played in France, because I played from 9 to midnight. And we took a couple breaks in between, but you never end at midnight, because by that time you've still got a lot of people are asking for requests, and the night like gets more and more as exciting as like the night gets older as it goes on. So midnight started to feel like 10. You know what I mean?
Right,
like everyone's wide awake, and as they were requesting more songs, it just got more and more fun. So we never ended at 12. It was more like closer to 1. And then by the time I pack up all my equipment and pack up and say goodbye to everyone, I wasn't getting home till 2:30.
Wow.
And that's why then you'd sleep. You completely get on a different schedule.
Okay, because waiters and waitresses, they're often up late, and then like after the restaurant closes and all the annoying customers go home,
then they hang out.
Then they're sitting there, having a little party of their own. Would
Right.
you be part of that too,
Right.
with the waiters and waitresses?
Not with the waiters and waitresses so much there, but in musical theater, absolutely. Like after the show is over, everyone, because you're on such a high.
Wired. Right, you're
you
wired.
just want to talk about the night and how it went, and still hang out and be with your group.
So you would play, and you'd take requests, and they'd sit around just like in the movies, right? Everybody would be around saying, "Oh, play this, play that,"
right? Exactly.
And you just would. Do you have any other tunes it's a favorite of yours that you either wrote for? Are you allowed to play for us something you wrote for somebody else that somebody else recorded?
Sure, definitely. Actually, when I first moved to Nashville, I won a pretty prestigious contest, and that was the Nashville Songwriters Association contest.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. It did have entries from all over the world, thousands. I don't know how many thousands, but mine was the grand prize winner. And I didn't think it was a country song, really, and I had written it by myself, so there was things that I never expected it to, take those honors, but it did, and it opened a lot of doors, since I didn't know anyone in the music industry when I moved there, and didn't really know that many people otherwise. So that really helped me to get in front of different publishers and to have meetings open up, and just gave me the opportunity to write with some co-writers that I wouldn't have necessarily had access to, or they wouldn't have listened to me when I made the call.
Right, but when you suddenly are an award winner.
Yeah, then the community's so small too, then songwriters really know what's going on and who's writing what and who's writing the hits and who's getting recorded, that just to have a new writer in town and that I'd won it, people were contacting me, and then were open to me.
They're contacting you, and you're not having to bang down their door.
Exactly. So it really went both ways. And I was really fortunate, because this song actually has been recorded a couple different times. Once by a girl named Nikki Cleary, who was signed to Jive Records. And so that was actually out of New York City. That was a pop deal. She was on the same label as Britney Spears at the time, and she was younger. And I was actually teaching her piano lessons, and that's how I got to know her and the family. And then when she got this huge record deal, and they were grooming her to take over Britney's predecessor, and she had all the same choreographers and managers and everything. They loved this song that I had written.
Well, now you're making me. I have to ask. Can you play this?
Yes, no, I'd love to play this. I will say I changed some of the lyrics for her because she was only 15.
Mm-hmm.
So this version is like the adult version. Because honestly, I haven't heard the PG version in so long that I can't remember the words.
Oh, okay.
But I did make it a little bit more innocent.
For public TV?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Trust me. But her version is just more innocent.
Okay.
But the chorus and everything is pretty much the same.
Okay.
You'll see there's a little bit talking about like being a workaholic. Like some of the things just made the themes a little bit younger.
Oh, okay.
No. Nothing we have to worry
about.
Nothing we have to bleep out.
If my grandmother was still alive, she could listen to it. Because she got really upset when bras started being advertised on TV. Oh, yeah. Like, she would turn off the TV. So, like, she would be okay with this if she was still alive.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm hoping I will be able to show this to my grandmother. So.
Okay.
Just so hard to find some time for me. Phone ringing off the wall and deadlines to me. My only saving grace is at the end of day, when I walk through that door and you take me away, where I can feel like I feel from the day much on your mind. Sometimes I wonder how my heart survives it all. But somehow it hangs on for when the nighttime falls, and I can feel like I feel from the day you first found me. Honest and real, more than my wildest fantasies, and I'm flying higher than the stars, lying closely in your arms where I can feel. Feel like I feel from the day you first found me. Honest and real, more than my wildest fantasies, and I'm flying higher than the stars, lying closely in your arms where I can feel.
Congratulations, that's lovely. That is
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Thank you very
and
much.
I think when you go to your website, you hear that, like, as
Yes,
soon as
I
I
think
go
that's
on,
okay.
I don't think I click anything. I think it just starts coming up,
It
right?
does, yes, yeah.
Did you do your website yourself, or?
I didn't. I had some help with that. so-
Okay, good. So you're not having to do everything.
No.
But people can sign up for your newsletter, right? So they can find out where
Right.
you're going to be.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
as long as you don't play too late, I'd love to come.
Yeah, the next few I think start at 6 and 7. So
Okay,
hopefully
then
you can
I'm
make it
okay.
for a
Where are
couple
the
hours.
next ones?
Sunday night at Perks and Corks in Westerly, Rhode Island. That's going to be actually a little bit later, 8 to 11.
Okay, but that's something, because this show may run other times after this event that you're telling me about. So
Yes.
chances are you're probably going to play there again,
Yes.
do you think?
Yep,
Okay.
definitely.
All right.
Maybe
so
once a month.
okay.
And then also at the Black Sheep as well.
And that's also in
And
Westerly.
that's actually
right?
in Niantic, and
Oh,
we'll
oh.
be playing from 7 to 10 on Monday, July 7th.
Okay.
So we're trying to start kind of like a songwriter series, whereas
Who's we when you say we?
well, Matt is my friend who's
Oh, okay.
visiting. He's coming up, and he'll be back in a couple months as well. But I've met a couple other songwriters in the area who I've talked to about doing something like this, because there's so much live music around here, but there isn't, like in Nashville we call them writers' nights.
Uh-huh.
And I'd love to have a place where we regularly had 1 or 2 a month, where you know, you have 3 or 4 songwriters up at one time, and what we do is each take turns playing a song for the whole, you know, hour, 2 hours. And it's kind of nice for listeners, I think, because if you don't really love one person, you know, you might really love someone else. So it's a nice like variety of
what a fun thing to
music
do.
and- yeah.
It's called Writers' Night. Even though, like, so
Yeah.
people think of people like me standing there with their books going blah, 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 but you're playing.
I guess it's technically a songwriter's night. In Nashville, you just say writer's night.
Oh, okay, because
And
it's just a
everyone knows
given
it.
if you're in
Everyone knows
Nashville.
it's, yeah, a songwriter
So
night.
what happens, like, people just pack their bags and the bus lets them off at Nashville, and you look around and there's songwriters walking around
pretty
with
much.
a sign on their chest or something? Like, how do you all find each other?
Oh, there's just so many clubs and so many coffee shops, and it's a very centralized city. It is. And
Do you have to be a country writer?
no, there's so much more going on now. Pop and dance and, you know,
Okay, you can be
all
any kind
different
of
styles.
music type
Really,
of
yeah.
writer
Mhm.
and find a niche there.
Actually, there's a lot of older, I say older, I shouldn't say old, but 80s rock people living in town now that are writing for the younger generation. Like, for example, guys from the band Winger or Journey or Poison are now writing country songs, because it's just you know, such a wonderful place to be able to write any different style. And if you're a good songwriter, the songs should be able to be produced in different genres as well, just depending. You know, if you put a fiddle on a great song, it'll sound country, but if you put a rock guitar on it. Just saying, like, a great song can be produced in a lot of different ways.
So if you're gonna, say you're in Nashville or in New York, how would you even know which artist or producers to say, I've got this song? Will you look at it? How does that work?
That's complicated.
Is that what everybody's trying to figure out?
That's what everyone's trying to figure out. That's where it's all who you know.
Okay. So how do you get to know people? You won the award, so that helped you get known.
Right.
How else do you get to know people in
Playing
the
out.
industry? Playing like at a restaurant.
Playing out, or playing, you know, in Nashville, playing writers' nights. Producers and other people in the industry definitely come out to hear new music.
Oh, they will. So you all have to be nervous if you know like a major producer's coming.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it changes the whole dynamic of the room.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
So now you have to like make sure your hair is brushed and you
and
you hit all the right keys. And
yeah.
Well, we have to end. I'm so sorry because there's so much I'd love to know about your life because it's not one that I live at all. But I hope to see you. I want to see you playing in Westerly and wherever you play. So I can't wait to get my newsletter. I've signed up. Just tell the audience how to get your newsletter so they can find out, or how to, or else like they could just contact you because your email address is on there. When I was able to contact you to invite you to the show, so that because you do weddings, you do parties, you do music for famous rock stars, you'll do whatever.
Sure,
right
exactly.
Now. Okay.
Theme songs.
Yes.
Yeah, my website is conniehowardmusic.com, and you will find the contact information on there, my email address and my phone number. So if you'd like to contact me, please do. And Lisa, thank you so much for having me on today.
Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And thank you for, I just hope you come on again, or maybe I have a party and you play at it.
I would love that.
Would you? I always try to get people to come over and play, and none of them want to do that. So if you would actually do that, that would be great. Okay,
sure.
That would be wonderful. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on the Lisa Saunders Show. Look forward to seeing you next week.